Hello everybody, welcome to another video, and today I just want to talk a little bit about Whispers in the Walls, the upcoming update that should be coming out in October. We saw a fair bit of gameplay from this update during TennoCon, and I must say I'm very satisfied with what I saw. And I'm not talking about the story, I mean gameplay wise. I am overjoyed that they're expanding the game this way, adding new tile sets, new weapons, new enemy types, even new factions. Because Warframe has an amazing combat system. I think that's the one thing that everyone can agree upon. Just playing Warframe is fun. The mechanics are solid and there's a wide variety of Warframes, weapons and companions. And it just doesn't get old, not for me anyway. I've played the game for almost 6,000 hours at this point and I still have fun with the combat. Where I feel the game lacks the most, and once again bear in mind I'm someone that has played this game for a ludicrous amount of time, is in the enemy department. Because let's be honest here, the game has 3 factions, that's it. We have Grineer and Corpus, those are the 2 main ones, and Infested are kind of like a lesser faction, because you mostly fight them on Eris and Deimos, and outside of that it's just an occasional invasion and Dark Sector missions. They do have an entire open world though, so I will count them as a full-on faction. And that's it. Corrupted are just, well, corrupted versions of the other factions. Sentients are barely a faction, even though they're very story important, and Dax enemies are usually just mixed in with the other factions, though they have become a little bit more prevalent with the Paradox update. So for the most part, you fight Grineer and Corpus and occasionally the Infested. So I feel like adding new factions, like the Murmur, and even expanding the Necromantic faction to be its own thing, because they're adding new enemies into that subcategory of enemies as well. We're not just gonna have the Corndog Necromantics, is the way to go, because you can only fight the same enemy for so long before it gets a bit dull. Plus, this also allows them to design different interesting enemies that fit that faction, like the boss that we saw from the Murmur faction during the demo was really cool, and it wouldn't really work as a Grineer, Corpus or an Infested enemy. I mean, maybe you could do it as an Infested monstrosity, but I feel like that would be a bit of a stretch. So yeah, very happy that they're adding a new faction with the Murmur and they're expanding the Necromantic faction as well. I just hope they don't leave them on Deimos and that's it, so we have like 3 missions to fight them. Now on top of that, I'm always excited for new tile sets, because just like with the enemy factions, you can only fight in the same area for so long before it gets dull. I mean, anyone that played during the Void Key era knows that very well. There were like, what, 3 excavation missions that he would do to farm Void Keys, and then he would run the Void Keys in the Void. That was it. But I digress. I feel that new tile sets are extremely important for the game, because it just spices things up. Even if you're doing the same thing, if you have more tile sets to do it in, it feels less repetitive. I mean, that's the whole reason why we have relics instead of Void Keys. Also, the newer tile sets tend to be a lot better than the older tile sets. Like if someone held a gun to my head and told me do a random extermination mission now, I'm gonna do the one on Zariman, because the Zariman tile set is still relatively new and very cool, which is why I'm sometimes annoyed that I don't have more stuff to do there. All I do on Zariman nowadays is farm plumes to buy more rugs for my Orbiter to annoy Anarchy, my dojo decorator, because he hates them. This is actually one area where I and many others feel Warframe fails the most, connecting everything into a cohesive experience. There are content islands scattered around everywhere, and once you're done with the content on that island, you don't have much reason to return. Though to be fair, it does feel kind of nice to finish something and be done with it. So maybe I'm just talking out of my arse, I don't know. And the final topic that I want to talk about today is Book Gun, the Grimoire. This is a new weapon type that we're getting with this update, and it's just a magical book that seems to have 2 different fire modes, one that's more focused on single target and one that's more focused on AoE. Some people said that it doesn't really fit into the Warframe universe, but I mean, a magical book doesn't seem to be that big of a stretch when you look at all the other things that are in the game. I mean, we play as a very special magical space child that uses said space magic to control infested blobs of flesh encased in a mech suit. But a magical book is too much, eh? I don't think so. It's a cool new weapon, and new weapons are important. I mean, back in the day, like way back in the day, most of you probably don't remember this, DE used to release new weapons all the time, and it was one of the things that kept us playing. And the book gun specifically is a completely new weapon type. It's not just another rifle or just another pistol. It's a brand new toy for us to play with. So just like the new faction we're getting and the new tile set, it adds more variety, and variety, as they say, is the spice of life. You can probably tell that I'm very excited for this update. It looks really good and I cannot wait for it to come out. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, please let me know what you think about this upcoming update in the comment section down below. Then I would like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, and if you would like to become a channel member as well, you can check out the memberships and stuff down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.